Hello, welcome back to the Towel Boy, where we try to give you the cleanest takes in sports. If you know me, you know my family, you know we are pretty hyperbolic, but I am pretty confident in saying that this is the most exciting time that I can remember recently of the sporting world, sporting community. The World Cup's going on right now. Home soil go. That's what I have to represent today. But also my favorite time of the year, the NBA draft. If you know me, you know that scouting and looking at prospects and projecting the future stars of the league, the game that I love the most, basketball, is one of my passion projects I love to do. So I've spent the last years really looking at some of these prospects, some of the guys we've known since they were like 13, some of the guys kind of burst onto the scene this year. So I'm going to give you guys my official 2026 NBA draft board. Talking about the players that I believe are the top 50, and then we'll talk about those a little bit. If per usual, you go to my blog Hoops and Stuff at hoopsandstuff.blogspot.com. I spent a lot of time working on this, writing it up. It would really mean a lot if you guys went and checked it out. But I'm going to kind of break it down into tiers a little bit today. Not talking too much about each individual player in depth, but more the players that I think uh, have a role in a similar and in a vacuum will be able to produce at a similar level than other prospects in that range. So, without further ado, I got my cup of Joe right here. It's time to get moving. So, this first tier for the number one pick is between. I think the number one pick is going to be between Devonta and Peterson, but I really think Cam Boozer is the best prospect. Eventually, I've talked about it before in other videos. If you've been the best player in your class since you were about 14 years old, and then you go on to have one of the greatest seasons of college basketball history as a freshman, win National Player of the Year, but people are still saying that there's this false ceiling or he's more of a high floor player. I think that's kind of ridiculous. He's been the best player for his whole life, and I still think he is the best player. Do I understand why Devonta and Peterson you can project why or people you can see why people say they have a higher ceiling? I do. I can see they have the scoring chops and like the a little bit more of a wow factor, if we're being honest. But I think Cameron Boozer is going to be at very worst a 1B option at the NBA level. Of course, there's some flaws in his game, right? But there is for every single prospect. Boozer is an awesome player. So is Devonta. I haven't really seen a wing get to the rim at will like he has, right? One of the best wing prospects I've evaluated in my time. Devonta is going to be a scoring threat in the NBA, no question about it. And it's just really a question mark of will the shooting and defense come around to become one of the elite players? Because if it does, he's a top five player in the league. You really do think so. Same with Darren Peterson. I projected more of a shooting guard, but he can also play the one. I think his injury issues with Kansas are going to be behind him. Good defender, elite shooter. He's going to be one of the best scorers in the league. So you can see scoring is the most important thing in the NBA, right? So you can see why Devonta and Peterson have maybe a higher scoring ceiling than Boozer, but I think these guys, the top three teams, are going to be very happy with whoever they choose, right? And then kind of in his own tier, I think is Caleb Wilson. Athletic four. He's going to be an elite defender who has some offensive upside, has pretty good touch, gets to his spots. Maybe didn't finish the best at North Carolina, but I do think he's going to be a good play finisher. And then you've got the three guards right here. Kingston Flemings, Darius Acuff, Michael Brown Jr. Flemings, I know, is doesn't have the wingspan, is kind of smaller, but I'm a sucker for guys who play hard and do what he does, right? He plays on both sides. I think he's going to get better in an NBA system, right? Houston, we all know, isn't the most free flowing offense, so I think he's going to fit well with whoever he goes to in the NBA there. Acuff, we all know about the defensive concerns, but we all know that he's one of the most elite offensive prospects that we've seen at the guard position when it comes to scoring the ball really since Ja Morant that I could think of has a player really been like this dude is going to be one of the offensive elite guards in the league. Michael Brown, I love him a lot. I don't think the shooting numbers really showed how good of a scorer he is. I love the size. I am a big fan of Michael Brown Jr. I think he's going to go into that 5 to 8 range, and he's going to be really good. Had really good upside to be to be a really good guard, right? You see here, I wrote down, I think he has as much upside as any guard not named Darren Peterson. So I would really like those three guards, kind of like that next tier. Ade Mara, I think, is the best center in this class. Everybody's looking for size now. That's kind of the new meta, right? We want size, size, size. Ade Mara's got that. He's got some touch around the rim, got some passing chops, and he's going to be a good rim protector. Keaton Wagler, I just can't get into that top five of range that a lot of people have him at. But he's going to be a good scorer. There's no denying that he has a bunch of talent. But I do, and maybe I'm silly because it's weird. Because I love guys with high feel, but for some reason, Wagler's lack of um eye-popping vertical athleticism causes me to be a little bit lower on him, even though I can recognize it kind of goes against what I say about other people. Jaden Quaitons was my number 3 prospect coming into the year. The injuries are a real concern, but I think that if he ever gets to the prospect that he was, there's not defensive guys like him in the league very often. Braden Burries, I don't think he's going to be a star offensively, but I think he's going to be a very good role player. He can do whatever you want. He can. He showed out Arizona can initiate a little bit. He's going to play some defense. Going to be a really good player right there. Phylon is going to be an offensive guard, but I think eventually with the tools, he can maybe be a decent point of attack defender. I like Phylon. Graves, the analytical darling of the draft class, he's just going to be a really good connecting role player. He can shoot the ball. He can make passes. He can really defend at a high level, especially as like a team defender. Maybe not so much one on one, but a really good team defender right there, Alan Graves. And I really like these next couple guys, Yaxel Lindenborg. I know that he really skill wise might be a top 10 player, but he's going to be 24 years old here pretty soon. Um, he's going to come in right away and be a rotational player. So Yaxel Lindenborg, very good player. Hans Steinbach, I'm really high on. I think there's shooting promise there. Best rebounder in the class, has really good hands. I think can be an okay defender eventually. I really like Steinbach. He's one of my guys, I think, for this draft class. Dalen Swain, elite athlete on the wing, can really get to the rim. I like Dalen Swain. I like Christian Anderson, a little bit undersized, but he does everything you want out of a point guard. Can score, can create for others, can defend. Even with the undersized, really good pace. Love Anderson. I like Cam Carr's two-way ability. He can score the ball. Was asked to do a lot for Baylor. Ridiculous 7'1" wingspan causes you to be excited about his defensive potential. I really like Cam Carr there. And then Mo Johnson right here, I think is another really tough guy. Plays really hard, really good rebounder. Eventually, might become a decent shooter, but he's going to play at the 4 position, I think, be a good defender. And you're looking for big wings, right? Uh, you're looking for big wings for big forwards. He's got that. He's got the size. He's built like a man, right? So Mo Johnson there. Chris Sinak, really high ceiling. Out of high school, 5-star recruit. I don't really know how to it was hard for me to evaluate him this year based off of what he did at Houston. Because, like I said earlier with Flemings, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot primarily, but he does have ball handling skills. I like the form when he shot the mid range shot. I think he's going to be a couple years away from being a real contributor, but Chris Sinak right there, I really do think has potential. Then these probably tier break right after the next two guys here. Isaiah Evans, I love him. I don't know why, but he's just been one of my guys as well. I think when he gets on a heater, there's not many better shooters in the draft class. And then he showed improved ball handling skills, willingness to compete on the defensive end. I don't think he's going to be your main stopper, but I think that he's shown that he has the ability to guard at a decent, at least league average level. Which if you have a wing that can shoot and defend at a league average level, you're going to take that right there, right? Bennett Sturts, last year I wasn't very high on him. Came around on him more this year. Very good basketball player. I just don't know how it's going to go at the NBA level. Similar to how I said, who was I talking about earlier? Similar to how I said with Wagler. I love guys with a high feel. Bennett Sturts has that, but for some reason, I just couldn't get myself to rank him much higher than these other guys. This year was a weird cycle for me. I'm kind of going against what I usually go against. But Sturts might be a guy that makes me look smart. I didn't have him as high as some of like the analytic guys do, but maybe 22 is a little low. Nate Mint came in as a 5-star recruit. Thought he was going to be a top 5 draft pick. He just doesn't. He just didn't ever look like that this year. And he's really only 23 because of the potential that he has. And maybe it's fake potential, right? But I don't think it really is fake potential. He didn't show enough at Tennessee at all to warrant a first round draft pick, in my opinion. But if you have to consider the high school, the priors before to really, really say it. He is a 6'11 wing. He can handle the ball a little bit. He is a pretty good rebounder. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how much his stock falls and what team's going to take the pick with the upside there. Now, these next couple of guys are in their own tier, but I am a big fan of the next 4 to 5 guys. Richie Saunders, absolutely my guy. If he wasn't older, I would have him as a top 15 player. I love him. Can shoot, can dribble, can rebound, can defend. BYU's best player the last 2 years who's had top 10 picks on both of those rosters. Love Richie Saunders on the wing there. Abuka Okorie, um, undersized with 6'8" wingspan, really impressive. He can shoot the ball well, really good at getting to the rim, getting to the spots that he wants to get to the free throw line. Going to be a really good offensive rim pressuring guard there. I likened him to Trey Jones there. Can really get to the guard, can fit to get to the rim as a guard, can finish really well. Malik Thomas was tough for me. I do think he's going to be a couple years away from being a real stud, but I think he can be a good secondary ball handler in the league. He showed in the mid range, he has some touch. He is an okay passer. I would like to see him improve there, but he has the willingness to get a good rebound, push in transition. He has the skills to be a good secondary ball handler, I do think. Out of Spain, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm probably forgetting somebody. I tend to do that on these videos. But I think this is the first international prospect I have on my big board here with Sergio De La Rey. He's got good size. He's a good rebounder, and I think he's going to be a good shooter at the league. 6'6" shooter on the guard position. Always going to like it. I like him. He's another one of my guys, okay? Now, this next guy, Koa Pete, the pendulum has swung too far. Yes, he can't shoot the ball. Like, truly can't. But a 6'8", 6'9", 250-ish forward at 19 years old that had 50 plus dunks, can pass the ball, has some touch. What more do you really want for? Somebody's got to take the pick. So I see some people online saying he's not worth a first rounder at all, not worth even a top 40 pick. That's ridiculous. Do I think he could have gone back to college? Maybe he should have. But very good player. Some team I think is going to reap the rewards. At least in 2 or 3 years, he's going to become a good NBA player. Henry Vasar, I think, is going to be a good center here. Can play it 2 ways. Good offensive touch. Good, I think, shooting projection. Maybe not to be great, but he has it there. And then a good rim deterrent, right? Kareem Lopez, another one of those high upside guys that doesn't have the skill yet. I'm usually lower on these guys. He's got the athleticism and the size that you want on the wing, but I don't know if he has the touch or the feel. Again, a big high feel guy. He doesn't have it, kind of going against what I've said for some of the other guys. Guy I didn't love the last couple of years, but Caravan has just shown for the next last couple of years he can do whatever you want. Similar to Richie Saunders, can defend, can rebound, can shoot the ball. Joshua Jefferson didn't end up doing so good in the Big 12, but he can kind of pass, shoot, do a little bit of everything. Terrence Reed, big body down low, going to get rebounds, good score if you need. Isaiah Nelson, really good athlete, really good rebounder, just a guy that you want to fly around on the wing and the forward position. Braden Smith is the best passer in this entire draft. Just super undersized, but there's no doubt that he can be a third point guard in a rotation. Nate Biddle and Ernest Uday, I like both of these guys as an early second round pick. Biddle has a little bit of that offensive upside with some shooting touch. Uday is going to be more of that lob threat. Really good defender. I like both of those guys as some kind of undervalued centers in this draft class. I know that this guy's really low, but Zuby Ejiofor, I think, is going to be a really great defender, high energy. It probably should be higher, but I have him at 38 on my board. Price Sanford, he's not an NBA athlete probably, but he sure is an NBA shooter. Can shoot the freaking leather off the ball. I like the forward out of Nebraska. Ryan Conwell, same thing, really good shooter. I think he can be a good guard. Trevon Brazile, good athlete, not a lot of good feel for the game. I would take the swing. Jack Kyle, I think is how you say the name. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I like his ability to get into the paint, but I think he's got a lot of room to grow. And I think he should have gone to Gonzaga, but you know, it is what it is. Take an Owe, good athlete, going to be more of a defender at this next level. Onyenso, probably the best rim protector, like solely rim protector in this draft. I'm not as high on Baba Miller, but he does have the tools that you want to be a point forward. Tyler Nickel, really good shooter. Malik Brown, really good defender. Tyler Bilodeau, really good shooter, but again, not an NBA athlete, really. Graham Ike tested really well. Big body, has good touch around the rim for a big man. I think a team should take a swing. And then I like Kylan Ball as well. 4-year player, but still younger than a lot of these guys. Can play point or two guard, can defend, play off ball, can shoot the ball. I like Ball as well. Some of my honorable mentions here, I like some of these guys. So maybe get a two-way contract, undrafted, signed right away, but I will look forward to them in this draft class. And I know that's super, super quick, but I just kind of wanted to share with you guys some of the players that I like, who I'm really high on. Right, I talked about. I'm gonna stick with JQ. Creighton is one of my guys, and I really like Steinbach. And I really like Richie Saunders, Isaiah Evans. Those are some of my guys here in this draft. Please comment below who are some of your my guys in this draft class that you have maybe higher than consensus. Let me know who you want your team to draft in this upcoming NBA draft. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to see what happens in the league. Um, yeah, and please, like I said, go check out the hoopsandstuff.blogspot.com. I post there often. I put a lot of work into that, so it would mean a lot if you guys went and check that out. Until next time, have a good one. Peace.